Welcome to the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion Remastered. I am so pumped to be back in Cyrodiil to experience this game in the graphics it felt like it had when I was a kid in 2006, first falling in love with the Elder Scrolls. For those of you who've never played it or did just once so long ago that you forgot everything in it, this is probably going to feel like a brand new main title Elder Scrolls game. Daedric Princes and the powerful, unique items they can bestow are one of the coolest parts of the Elder Scrolls, though unlike Skyrim, Oblivion's quests didn't tend to just fall into your lap. Instead, if you didn't hear of shrine locations from a character or by reading a certain book, you'd have to brave the wilderness, discovering the shrines yourself, and what offerings are required. In this video, we'll master Daedric drudgery as we do whatever it takes to obtain every Daedric artifact we can, including Mehrunes' razor. We'll cover the power each artifact holds, what level you must be before attempting to acquire such exquisite items, and any changes to keep in mind with the remaster. Azura, the Queen of Dawn and Dusk. In Oblivion, she will grant you Azura's Star in return for helping her to rid a mine full of vampires. But these are no ordinary vampires. They are former followers of Azura who slew the vampires who were once there, including one named Daedric, but became infected themselves. Instead of seeking a cure, they decided it would be safest to shut themselves away in the vampire lair, where they suffer to this day. Azura wants you to put them out of their misery. Azura's shrine can be found north of Cheydinhal. You can fast travel to Blackwaterside Stables and head north until you end up in the mountains, southeast from the center of the Imperial City. Keep an eye out for the Daedric Shrine markers on your compass to help you go straight towards it once you're close enough. You'll want to bring glow dust as an offering, which can be obtained by killing a will-o'-the-wisp or buying it from an alchemist's shop. I like the main ingredient in the Imperial City Market District. It's definitely worth the coin for the quest reward. If you get his disposition high enough, Melsmarion can tell you that the glow dust must be presented at dawn or dusk, though technically you don't have to talk to him if you know what to do. So between 5 to 7 AM or 5 to 7 PM, activate Azura's shrine. Offering the glow dust, she'll send you to Gutted Mine, which isn't far at all. Descend through the mine, killing the afflicted brethren vampires until all 5 are slain. However, as simple as it sounds, I must warn you that some of these afflicted brethren are very tough, and I'm mainly talking about the 2 geared up in heavy armor. In the original game, they had some of the best gameplay skills of all enemies, and in the remaster they still proved tough. Like many enemies, they are leveled and will possess strong gear for whatever level you are, unless you min-max your build from the get-go for high damage output or bring some useful potions and poisons. You may find it a challenge, particularly if you're not dealing magic damage and then their armor is just absorbing heaps of your hits. It's still possible to win, even at a low level, but again, far from easy for some builds. Returning to Azura, she thanks you, erects 5 candles in honor of her fallen followers, and you get Azura's Star. You can't corrupt it to be the Black Star like you can in Skyrim, so it'll only be able to capture white souls obtained from creatures and monsters, not sentient mortals. It's still a big advantage, of course, as it won't disappear once you use it, allowing you to forever have a reusable soul gem, batteries not included. I will say too that while you can get it early, unless you're planning to obtain a low-level soul trap spell for your character, or you have a plan to get a soul trapping weapon very fast, then you might not find Azura's Star that useful until later, especially if you don't even have enchanted items to recharge yet, though once you do, it may very easily become your favorite piece of gear. Believe it or not, but the Daedric Prince of Madness, Sheogorath, also allows you to embark on his shrine quest at level 2. I should also say that these Daedric artifacts, except Mehrunes' razor, aren't leveled items and function the same with the same stats whether you obtain them at level 2 or level 30. Sheogorath's shrine is found between Leyawiin and Breville. I prefer going to Leyawiin and heading north until you're close, then heading off the road. Among the hardly dressed people, you can talk to Feral Ravel to learn that Sheogorath demands a piece of yarn, a head of lettuce, and a lesser soul gem. They're all not too hard to find. You could go to the Imperial City Market District, get lettuce from the feed bag, get yarn as a miscellaneous junk item in one of the outdoor containers nearby, like crates, barrels, or sacks, and then get the lesser soul gem from one of the many Mages Guild halls, or just go into a magic shop and buy one if possible, or if it's not in stock, you could even steal one. Once presented, Sheogorath will tell you of his sadistic desire to bring about a prophecy. The nearby town of Khajiiti, Border Watch, is too dull for his liking, but these catfolk are highly superstitious. Sheogorath asks you to help bring about their Kashara prophecy, which you can learn about by talking to their shaman, Ribasa. Just tell him you're a traveling scholar, and make sure you get his disposition to 60. The first sign of the prophecy is the plague of vermin, then the plague of famine. He won't speak of the third. To bring about the first, you'll need to steal the reeking Olroy cheese wedge from the display box in the inn. It has a very hard lock on it which you may struggle to open, so save first if you'd like. You may find pickpocketing the nearby Sathasa to be easier, and using her key while you wedge yourself into hiding between both display cases. Either way, you can still open the lock regardless of your security skill. It will just take some finesse. Throw the cheese in the pot outside and watch the rats roll in. Then take the rat poison that the shaman places around to kill these rats and put it in the feed trough where the sheep are. They die soon enough, and the shaman continues to freak out. Sheogorath calls you to the center of town for the final show. Flaming dead dogs rain down from the skies, and the prophecy is complete. If you enjoyed that, then you're going to love playing the Shivering Isles DLC, especially with these beautiful graphics. After traumatizing these poor Khajiiti, you return to Sheogorath's shrine to be gifted the Wabbajack. This won't help against mortals, however what it can do is transform a creature into another creature at random, such as a troll or ogre, or skeleton champion who can summon another skeleton, or a rat, a sheep, a deer, a goblin skirmisher perhaps, even a Daedroth. You won't get in trouble if the creature kills someone either, so if you turn your horse into a Daedroth and it kills a guard, enjoy your guard armor guilt-free. Just don't go messing with anyone's livestock. Crucially, you must know that the effect only lasts 10 seconds, and the results are fitting for a mad god. Unpredictable. The best use is turning a strong leveled creature into a rat or sheep, and then killing that which kills the original creature. However, if you fail to kill the transformed creature, the original target will come back with their health restored, so use it wisely and act fast. Next up we have the Daedric Prince of Nightmares, Vaermina. Vaermina's shrine can be found southwest of Cheydinhall's center. You'll need to be level 5, but more difficult perhaps is that you'll need to offer a black soul gem. You may have some if you're wrapped up in Mages Guild events, however it can be tricky. What you can do is go to Fort Istrus, east of Kavach, about halfway to Skingrad, with a grand soul gem that you found or bought. You'll also need a soul trap spell, but you can also use a scroll if you have one to cast it for one-time use. Anyway, this fort features one of a few necromancer altars. On the right date, the Shade of the Revenant will occur, with a strange energy visibly beaming down above the altar. You can use the dates I put on screen. Put the Grand Soul Gem inside the altar, hit the altar with your Soul Trap spell, and you'll turn your Soul Gem into a Black Soul Gem, able to capture mortal souls. Instead of using it for that, take it to Vaermina's shrine and begin her quest. She sends you to a fort not too far south of her shrine, where a wizard named Arkved has obtained her orb, snatched from the dreams of her followers, and dragged into the waking world. He has found more than he's bargained for, and has seemingly merged parts of Vaermina's realm into the fort. If you have Wabbajack, you can use it to turn the Clanfears and the other Daedra here into rats or sheep, but of course you may also turn them into trolls, so be careful. Battle your way through the Daedra infestation and enjoy the twisted, dark sights within. Arkford's Retreat is a super eerie zone that you can access through a floor hole with all these hanging zombies and a chest of loot. There's also Arkford's Oasis, which gives you a phenomenal view of lava stretching into the distance. As you battle your way through the many foul sights, get tricked by fake doors, and dodge the magical soul gem guard's elemental damage, you'll ultimately figure out which doors go places and which don't. Following the paths that take you deeper through the fort, you will find Arkford unconscious in bed, unable to be woken. Take the orb from the table in the room and leave out the nearby door. Now, I'll tell you now that when I first did this quest in the remaster, the map marker pointed me straight in here through the secret exit, so I suggest that even if this happens to you, to go through the main fort doors still if you actually want to experience all the cool parts of the quest. When you return to Vaermina with her orb, she will reward you with the Skull of Corruption. However, instead of powering it with collected dreams, you'll just point and shoot at those enemies you wish to make an angry clone of. These clones usually have the same equipment. However, I've encountered a glitch where they tend to keep the same weapon but wear no clothes. Surely this will get patched soon, just know that they are supposed to wear the same gear just like in the original. The clone you summon also possesses the same combat prowess as the target, making them not only a good distraction, but also pretty strong. I also love the look of the Skull of Corruption in the remaster, and I do like the clone power a lot more than the staff's use in Skyrim. It can only be used on actual humanoid targets, not creatures, and not guards who apparently aren't mortals like the rest of us in this instance. I'll have you know there is another Daedric Prince quest accessible at level 5, and that is for the Daedric Prince of Ancient Darkness, the Mistress of Decay, Namira. Namira's shrine is located east of Bruma's southern wall. I hope you don't have much of a personality for this one. Namira, as a patron of all things repulsive, will only speak to you if your personality attribute is 20 or below. To achieve such an embarrassing state, you'll want to drink as much cheap wine as you can find. It's an abundant resource, notably found in the basements of chapels. Slam enough of those to get your personality to 20, and Namira will talk to you. You're sent to an Aelid ruin, Angar, south of Namira's shrine, where her forgotten, as she calls them, have been intruded upon. She wants them to continue their peaceful life of basking in their misery and filth, but now some priests of Arche are trying to show them the light. Namira wants them gone, but doesn't want it to be as simple as you just taking them out. Instead, she gives you a special spell called Namira's Shroud, which must be used on the priests to snuff out their light and have them attacked by the Forgotten Ones. These Namira worshippers do share the desires of their mistress. They don't want to be saved, and will say the light hurts them, immediately descending upon the priests when the opportunity arises. If your magicka is too low to cast this spell, head to and use this Aelid well southwest of Bruma, here on the map. This will not just restore your magicka by 400 points, but boost the raw stat by 50 points for 300 seconds, so you'll want to have already discovered Angar before doing this part if you need to. Fast travel back to Angar and go in. Cast the spell on the priests as fast as possible. Just save at the entrance if you find navigating the ruin difficult, but it's definitely possible to cast it on all the priests within the time that you have. Again, that's only if you don't have the magicka to cast the spell. After the Forgotten have mowed down all the priests, go back to Namira to receive her powerful ring. The Ring of Namira is a great item to wear, especially as you can wear 2 rings in Oblivion, not just one like in Skyrim. Namira says, "Let it bring pain to others who would wish it upon you," which you might guess means that it doesn't allow you to eat people in this game. Instead, it grants you 12% reflect damage, which covers melee physical damage specifically, great for wearing down your foes as they land strikes upon you. Additionally, it provides 10% reflect spell, which in Oblivion is chance-based, meaning you have a 1 in 10 chance of reflecting a spell back at the caster, dealing all its damage onto them, and avoiding avoiding its damage entirely. Like Daedric artifacts in general, you can get great use out of this ring regardless of your level. Northwest of Skingrad you will find Sanguine's Shrine. The Daedric Prince of Revelry, he who tastes the shaven fruit, will only speak to you if you're level 8 and bring him some Cyrodiilic brandy. Now you can buy it from the main ingredient, or take one from Joffrey's room in Cloud Ruler Temple if you're up to that, or get 3 for free by getting into Odil Farm not far southeast of Coral. Giving Sanguine his brandy, he reveals that he wants you to add a bit of spice to an otherwise drab existence. Your target is the dull and dreary Castle Leowyn, Countess Alicia Caro to be specific, whose dinner parties are excruciatingly boring, though of course high class. This means you'll have to figure out a way to be allowed in without an invitation. Sanguine gives you the spell Stark Reality for special use in this quest. Arriving at the castle, a guard blocks an unopenable door. The party is in full swing from 6 PM until midnight, but don't worry, you don't actually need to go there on any specific night. You can go in 3 weeks if you like. You'll have to bribe or sweet talk the guard to boost his disposition enough to let you in, or wear high enough valued gear so he assumes you're someone important. Alternatively, you can wear an easily purchasable upper class outfit like those sold at a store called Divine Elegance in the Imperial City Market District. Pop that on and the guard will stand aside, invitation not required. Stark Reality is an area spell, so aim for an NPC in the middle and let the chaos unfold. At the snap of your fingers, all the dinner guests are stripped of their clothes, and you find yourself equally lacking. In fact, all your items and gold are gone, so when the guards try to arrest you, there's not even the option to pay the fine. And no, you can't use the spell from then on to go around town and do the same thing later on. Free of all your weight, you'll find yourself running faster from the sword swings and arrows of the Leowyn guards. Turn right as soon as you leave the castle, head out the door of the city and run as far as you can into the wilderness until you're no longer being chased. It may take some time, and the only weapons you'll be left with are the arrows you've had shot into you. Let the battle music fade, and press the wait button to test that you're safe. Traveling back to Sanguine's Shrine, you will find him very pleased with the whole ordeal, and as a reward, not only will you get your stuff back from a chest, but you'll be presented with the Sanguine Rose. The staff can be cast on a target to summon a random Daedra that attacks them for 20 seconds. It might be a pesky scamp or a powerful Zivalai that summons its own clan fear. If there's no more enemies for it to kill, you may find the Daedra turns on you, though with it disappearing after 20 seconds from when it came into being, that's probably going to be pretty soon. A special edition of the Black Horse Courier tells of your mischief. Dinner party marred by prankster. The first line reads, Countess Alicia Caro is a lady of great beauty, wit, and grace. Her face is known throughout Cyrodiil. Unfortunately, thanks to one deviant prankster, the rest of her has become known to a good deal of her castle staff as well. Northwest of Anvil, you can come across a shrine to Malacath, Daedric Prince of the Bloody Oath and Defender of the Betrayed. At level 10, and with troll fat you've collected from a troll's corpse, or bought at an alchemy store perhaps, he will send you on a rescue mission. He'll treat you significantly better if you're an orc, too. Either way, he requests you help him in freeing some of his ogres that have supposedly been taken by a dark elf named Lord Drad, and put in chains to be used as slaves. You can visit Drad in his estate nearby and learn that he keeps the ogres in Bleak Mine. There's a key in his estate to the left of the entrance that you can steal, but doing so undetected can be hard if you're not stealthy, especially considering that the estate is marked as private, and therefore you are technically trespassing, and Lord and Lady Drad will both follow you vigilantly. If you admire Lord Drad's efforts, he'll reveal his mine. But if you want to go there straight away, just know it's across his farmland opposite the estate. The mine has a leveled lock on it, but with enough skill you can open most locks in Oblivion, even with low security. Inside are two groups of ogres, both locked in cells, opened by different keys. Each guard will be carrying at least one of the two keys required to free the ogres. If you're stealthy, you could pickpocket them and sneak past. Otherwise, you're in for a fight. These leveled guards are clad in heavy armor and can prove a challenge for some builds, kind of like the armored afflicted brethren we fought in Azura's quest. Bring some potions just in case. You could also use the Daedric artifacts we already collected, like the Sanguine Rose, or maybe even the Staff of Corruption, to take out enough of them to get the keys so you can unleash your new ogre friends. Upon leaving, you'll be able to see Lord and Lady Drad working the fields under the supervision of the ogres, wearing far less impressive attire. Feel free to talk to them about it.
I've got to get to work. If I don't, who knows what those ogres will do to me.
A very pleased Malacath gifts you Volendrung, which if you're a long-time Elder Scrolls lore fan on our channel, you know it's an ancient hammer of Dwemer make, and it looks far less Daedric than it did in Skyrim. It does the same damage as a Dwarven Warhammer. Most useful with Volendrung are its enchantments. It comes with two, the first being drain health 5 points per second for 20 seconds, and the other being 3 seconds of paralysis. Just remember that drain health will only reduce a target's max health by 5 points for that 20 seconds, and while they also take that 5 damage up front, even if their health isn't full, they won't be taking additional 5 points of damage from this enchantment upon additional swings. The more enjoyable thing in my opinion though is the paralysis, which is incredibly useful, especially if you're not planning on getting into using enchanting altars. To conserve Volendrung's power, you can actually use it primarily for crowd control, paralyzing a foe or two, then switching to another weapon, even a different warhammer if you're using the blunt skill, and just keep swinging, or paralyze them with a swing, then hit them with destruction if you're using that. One of the most useful Daedric artifacts in the game is the unbreakable lockpick, the Skeleton Key. Nocturnal's quest that allows you to get this artifact is actually really easy, and if it doesn't go against your roleplaying, then this quest with a level 10 requirement is definitely something you'll want to do on all kinds of characters. You can find her shrine northeast of Leyawiin and southeast of Sheogorath's shrine. The unfathomable Mistress of Shadows requires no offering, and will happily tell you that 2 Argonian thieves currently hiding out in Leyawiin have taken her eye. It is blind and drowned, stolen from its shrine and hidden in dark waters. Heading to Leyawiin, you can ask guards about the topic Leyawiin. Asking about the eye doesn't help, however asking about Leyawiin can have them talk of 2 Argonian thieves, Wabbajack and Bajin, who have been bragging recently. I should tell you that if you've done Sanguine's quest, talking to a guard might have them ask you to pay your bounty or go to jail. Technically, you can just go to the house if you know where it is though, and avoid being arrested. Getting the location of the house they're living in and heading over there will see both thieves refuse to explain things, leave their house, sneak, and then re-enter. Even if your map marker has changed already, it is cool to properly eavesdrop on them as they talk of Tidewater Cave. South of Leyawiin, all the way down here on the coast of Topal Bay, you will find a cave full of leveled animals and creatures. At level 10 you may find trolls, timberwolves, or even a bear. You get the idea. There can be quite a lot of animals to fight if you don't know where you're going, so the Sanguine Rose comes in handy if you wish to bring a Daedroth or Storm Atronach to help bring about some order. Or just run past it all, turning left down the first path and then continuing and going left around the corner, then left into this water-filled passage will have you swim down to discover the glowing eye and a chest to loot. Returning with the eye, you're granted the Skeleton Key. This is super overpowered, to be honest, especially considering that Oblivion has an auto-attempt feature you can just keep spamming without the pick breaking until the lock opens, and it'll still level your security skill. Speaking of which, you'll gain a blessing from this key of a massive plus 40 to the security skill, making it the perfect thing for any thief build. In some ways, it's so useful that you feel silly not grabbing it on every playthrough. It certainly makes playing a thief who doesn't possess it feel lacking by comparison. While the game will always prioritize using the skeleton key if you have it, you won't be able to smuggle it into jail, so make sure you keep one lockpick, even if you're not planning on attempting a jailbreak. Sometimes we find ourselves in unexpected situations. I'm sure you remember Spellbreaker from Skyrim. Let's go get it in the Oblivion Remaster. Peryite's shrine can be found far to the east of Braville's stables. It's a bit of a trek, so take your time to enjoy the different locations along the way. Once you finally arrive, you'll find that, besides needing to be level 10, no offering is required to speak to the Daedric Prince of Pestilence, nor are there any devout worshippers to ask about it, considering they've all gone and got themselves immobilized. Peryite requests your assistance in rescuing these followers who, hoping to summon him with a spell, found themselves trapped between worlds. Their bodies are here in Tamriel, but their souls are in Oblivion. Peryite will transport you to the realm they're trapped in once you're ready so that you can find their souls. Thrown into Oblivion, you must locate each lost soul and activate it to free it. The typical enemies found in Oblivion do feature, so if you're struggling against Fire Atronachs, Dremora and Clanfears, then you may find this challenging. Do remember though that while the souls may run away during the chaos of combat, you can still press on them mid-battle to secure their soul and keep pressing onwards to find the rest. Thankfully in the remaster, the map markers for each soul actually show you how far away each one is. The large circular landmass can take some time to navigate, but it's pretty typical Oblivion business. Just don't go searching for a sigil stone, as this isn't a gate in need of closing. After collecting all the souls, head back to the portal and return to Nirn. You'll find the followers now freely moving, and you can talk to an appreciative Peryite to receive Spellbreaker. This unique heavy armor shield, with slightly better protection than an Orcish shield, provides you with a massive 30% chance to fully reflect enemy spells. You don't even need to be blocking with it or facing your target or anything like that. Combined with the 10% spell reflection from the Ring of Namira, you'll be dropping mages left and right with half the effort. The final Daedric Prince quest unlockable at level 10 belongs to Meridia, but fear not, for the Elder Scrolls 4 is free from the unavoidable Meridia's beacon that love to just pop out of nowhere in Skyrim. To find the Lady of Light's shrine, head west from Skingrad to this point of the map. Due to her distaste of dark abominations, she'll only speak to you if you bring her an ingredient from one of Cyrodiil's many undead creatures. Proof you slayed one, I suppose, though you can get it from a shop if you want. Mort flesh from zombies is a pretty easy one to get. You can bring ectoplasm from a ghost, or funnily enough in the remaster, now I thought they'd patch this, but there was always a hidden piece of ectoplasm waiting for you underground at the shrine if you hovered your view over a specific area behind the benches, and in the remaster it's still there on the floor, just not so hidden. Meridia tells you of a group of necromancers operating behind a hidden door in Howling Cave. They have been robbing graves to raise undead armies, and she wants you to wipe them out. Howling Cave is east of Castle Skingrad, and the necromancers within can make for quite the battle, so come prepared. In the cave there's weaker creatures like rats as well as undead, until you make your way to the passage seemingly blocked by rocks, which then opens to reveal the hidden door. Inside, necromancers joined by undead allies will all start attacking you, summoning even more undead, and in such enclosed spaces there's nowhere to run, and the skeletons can keep getting in your way so you can't kill the necromancers. These necromancers all wield staves, they have powerful melee weapons, potentially even enchanted ones, and they're just relentless in their aggression. They also carry many potions, which make for great loot. I always sell most of it except for the health and magical ones. They can poison your fatigue as well and make you fall over constantly if you're a warrior who has already depleted this stat in battle. Spellbreaker definitely helps reflect the necromancer's magic here, and you can use the Sanguine Rose to hopefully summon a Daedroth or Zivali to block off an entire narrow path, protecting you while it deals damage to them. Once you've defeated them, be sure to loot all the coffins around, if it fits your roleplaying of course. If you're really struggling, which is definitely possible, try coming in and out of the zone of the cave they're in to mess with their tracking. You can wait a full hour to get your health back if no one follows through, and if someone does, usually it's not everyone, so you can take them out one-on-one and head back in. It feels a little bit cheap, but hey, if you have to do it, it's your game. Remember too that when fighting any ghosts, you'll want to have destruction magic or appropriate weaponry like silver, Daedric if you're a higher level, or the weaker Dremora gear modeled off the good stuff found commonly in Oblivion. Even unarmed damage if your skill is of journeyman rank. Kill the final necromancers and head back to Meridia to receive a special ring. You can wear it along with the Ring of Namira if you'd like. The ring Meridia gives you is called the Ring of Khajiiti, which fortifies speed by 10 points, making you faster, but also has a 35% chameleon enchantment. Looking kind of like active camo from Halo, chameleon makes you semi-invisible. While it won't come off in combat or when interacting with things, it's not nearly as good as pure invisibility unless you end up getting it higher towards 100%. It won't muffle the noise you make while moving, so if you aren't a stealthy character, you're still going to be detected often. Still, it makes you harder to spot in light and at a distance. It's good for enhancing builds that are already stealthy, just don't expect the ring to make you a ghost if you're not inclined that way already. Let's do an extremely evil quest and get our hands on Mephala's Ebony Blade. If you don't want to straight up murder people, this isn't for you. If you're interested, make sure you've hit level 15 and bring an offering of Nightshade. It's commonly found along the region of the map that stretches from Kvatch through Skingrad and down to Breville, or just get it from the main ingredient in the Imperial City. To find the Web Spinner's Shrine, head here, northeast of the Imperial City. It has a beautiful view, perfect for some self-reflection after you perform what is asked. Talk to Dredina about approaching the shrine if you like. Between midnight and dawn, you must present Mephala with her offering. She will tell you of Bleaker's Way, a settlement where two families, Nord and Dunmer, live in perfect harmony. I'm sure Brunwulf Freewinter would be proud if he was even born yet. It's up to you to disturb the peace, with brutal consequences. Mephala asks that you kill the leaders of each family without getting caught, planting evidence on the bodies that implicate the other family as the killer. Traveling not too far west, you will find Bleaker's Way. I find it best to wait until nighttime, then break into the two leaders' houses while they're alone and asleep. Their names are Hrol Ulfgar and Nivan Dalvalu. In Nivan's house, you'll find the Dalvalu ceremonial dagger on a table to the right of the entrance. Head on over to Hrol's house and pick up the Ulfgar family ring off the table near the bottom of the attic stairs. Their houses may be a hassle to break into if you have a low security skill, but with some persistence or the skeleton key, you'll have no problem. After taking the ring, it's time to slay Hrol. Stealth is your best friend here, though I noticed even if they detect you, their family don't come running in to find you if things do get noisy. After killing him, plant the ceremonial dagger on his body. Heading back over to Nivan's house, take him out and plant the Ulfgar family ring. Wait until daytime and talk to any of the NPCs about the family leaders. You can find some residents in the inn if you'd like to head there. Go outside to observe all-out family warfare. For me, the Dark Elves won, but I'd love to hear what happens on your playthrough. Returning to Mephala's shrine, she is more than happy to grant you the Ebony Blade, which in Oblivion is a one-handed blade and does a little less damage than a Daedric longsword, but more than a Daedric shortsword. It's not only powerful at any level, but especially so at level 15. It absorbs 8 points of health per strike and silences targets for 10 seconds, which in Oblivion prevents an enemy from casting spells. Very useful against mages. Also, if you don't want to technically get a murder on your record, you can use the Staff of Corruption or the Sanguine Rose to have a clone or Daedra kill the target for you. You can also play the speech minigame badly on purpose to get their disposition below 15, which makes them attack you. So your actions count as self-defense, I suppose. Who knew you could tell too many horrible jokes to the point it drives someone to kill you? If you thought that was nefarious, you're going to be shocked by Molag Bal's quest. Look, no one's forcing you to serve Daedric Princes, it's all on you if you choose to get involved. His shrine is found west of the Imperial City's Temple District, and he requires you to be level 17 and offer up a lion's pelt. You can find one on any mountain lion you kill out in the wilderness. There's a guaranteed mountain lion in the first quest you get from the Anvil Fighters Guild if you're struggling to find one. Emir at the shrine can let you know what offering to give, but like always you can just go straight to the prince, in this case the Lord of Domination, and offer what's required. Molag Bal wishes for you to bring him suffering and death. Your death, actually, at the hands of a man brought to the edge and pushed. You're sent southwest to Brindleholm, where an honorable man named Mellus Petilius lives. He has sworn an oath to never raise a weapon against another man, and after asking around Brindleholm, you can discover it's because he was out doing heroic deeds when his wife passed away, and he wasn't there to comfort her. Between 10 AM and noon, he heads to his wife's grave to mourn, which is where you'll want the corruption to unfold. Molag Bal has given you a cursed mace that you're to have Mellus kill you with. Simply drop it on the floor near him and entice him into attacking you. Attacking him at the grave is the only place where he feels disrespected enough to pick up the mace and kill you. Simply let him do his dirty work, make sure you don't have any reflect damage enchantments equipped, and enjoy his strikes training your armor skill or block skill, or take your gear off if you want to get it over and done with. But instead of seeing yourself slain like you otherwise would in game if you're bested in combat, you're teleported back to Molag Bal's shrine. Molag Bal relishes in the fact that you have ruined this man's soul and gives you your prize, the Mace of Molag Bal. The Mace of Molag Bal says it absorbs 5 points of magicka for 10 seconds. However, I found the amounts I got to be a little unreliable, though it does still absorb magicka. It also absorbs 5 points of strength, and I seem to be able to get this to happen twice if I strike multiple targets, getting it to show a plus 10 in my menu, but usually just expect a plus 5 that you keep for 10 seconds, and not plus 5 to strength stacking upon unlimited strikes. This mace is great for builds using blunt, as it deals 1 more point of damage than a standard Daedric mace. Make sure you don't take any followers with you who could attack Mellus. You don't want to fail this quest. You can actually return to him if you're feeling particularly sadistic.
No, you're dead. I killed you myself. What manner of creature are you? Will I be tormented with your image forever?
While we're so deep down this dark path, we may as well go slay a beautiful unicorn. At the same level of 17, you'll be able to do Hircine's quest and acquire another powerful Daedric artifact. To find the shrine of the Daedric Prince of the Hunt, you'll want to go here, south of the Arcane University. Vajira will ask you if you are prey or a hunter, and after saying that you're a hunter, she'll tell you you'll need to give Hircine a pelt from either a wolf or a bear. You can acquire such pelts from killing these creatures, or in my case I found most of the general goods store owners in the Imperial City were stocking bear pelts. Alternatively, just get one off the barrel when you go upstairs in Cheydinhall's Fighters Guild. Offer one of the pelts Hircine desires, and he will task you with hunting for his own amusement. There is a unicorn frolicking in Harcane Grove, and Hircine wants its horn. Traveling south-southeast of the shrine, you'll find the unicorn guarded by 3 leveled minotaurs. They're one of my favorite creatures in Oblivion, and while you don't have to kill them, it sure helps if you first lure them away and dispatch them. The unicorn itself is quite strong and can always be found in this grove regardless of the quest. It deals 45 points of damage with its kicks and has 350 health. It's set level of 15 and the rest of its impressive stats are constant. For example, it has full resistance to normal weapons, meaning silver, Daedric, enchanted gear, and so on is what you should use to slay it. It is resistant to diseases, 50% resistant to magic, fully resistant to paralysis and poisons, and reflects 20% of melee damage back at you. Interestingly, it only becomes hostile when you draw your weapon or raise your fists, even if the minotaurs are attacking you. So if you keep your weapon sheathed, it can remain calm, even allowing you to ride it, after which it becomes your very own mount. Though it's not that useful considering it can be violent against your allies, and you'll need to kill it to complete the quest. Some people fight it head on. Others use Wabbajack, hoping it will be turned into a weaker creature that's far easier to kill, and then there are those who ride it off a cliff, or a bunch of smaller falls to take it out. Perhaps you'll take it to an Oblivion gate and let the Daedra descend upon it. Anyway, if you're really crazy, you'll try eating the horn in your ingredients list, but alas, it is not possible. I was keen to see if the horn actually disappears from the head in the remaster, but it stays on just like the original. I couldn't even shake it off. Bringing it to Hircine will have you rewarded with Saviour's hide. Unlike Skyrim's equivalent artifact, which grants 15% magic resistance and 50% poison resistance, the one in Oblivion only grants magic resistance, but of an increased 25%. All this magic resistance and spell absorption and so on is really adding up with these artifacts. It will protect you similarly to a glass cuirass. And now we come to the infamous Umbra quest. That deadly black sword with a tale involving none other than the Daedric Prince of Trickery and Bargains, Clavicus Vile. You'll need to be level 20 for this one. Southwest of the Imperial City, between the shrines of Molag Bal and Hircine, you will find Clavicus Vile's shrine. If you have business with the prince, simply step right up and offer him 500 gold. Vile asks that you retrieve a very special sword for him, one that contains the soul of Umbra, who he calls a hero he's had dealings with in the past. Bring him the sword and he'll give you his mask. You're sent to Pel's Gate to begin searching. However, before you get there, you realize that everyone's favorite hound, Barbas, has chosen to get involved. He appears in your inventory as a statue, with his much larger statue form disappearing from the shrine. He tries his best to convince you that returning the sword to Vile will end badly. Heading along the path traveling east, you'll arrive at Pel's Gate, where you'll want to talk to Iroke the Wide. Get his disposition to 60 or above, and he'll ask if you're talking about the sword or the person. He tells you that the sword is jet black, powerful with a wicked edge on it, said to be able to steal a man's soul. He goes on to say it stole the soul of one named Lenwen, who has become Umbra the person. Lenwen was his apprentice until she found that sword and it changed her, making her bloodthirsty. She started calling herself Umbra after the sword and signed on with some mercenaries, though apparently that ended too. She's been gone for years, though some say they've seen her nearby, near the Vindasal ruins. He does not recommend seeking her out. Heading back towards Vile's shrine and into these Ayleid ruins with a death wish, you'll need to run past the usual Ayleid ruin traps, kill some rats or lead them to Umbra if you wish, and head down to meet her by the fire. She's not immediately hostile, and upon talking to her, she'll let you know you're taking a huge risk speaking to her and should leave. She'll tell you that Umbra is both her blade and who she was meant to be, that she has fed it the souls of warriors, priests, kings, and paupers, and that still Umbra hungers for more. Pel's Gate was another lifetime, and you can stay here and die, or leave now and live your life. Barbas will try to encourage you to return to Vile, but of course we don't want that. Doing so will complete the quest, but see you gain no reward. Fighting Umbra can be challenging depending on your build. She is rather powerful, especially due to her health regenerating, though you've also become stronger at this stage of your playthrough, so maybe with your build you steamroll it. You can cheese it by jumping on one of the pillars, as she has no ranged capabilities and can't reach you there. Now after you kill Umbra and take your new favorite sword, Barbas will again try and convince you to just keep it if you want, but don't return it. Now some people might want to just not finish the quest and enjoy the sword as a quest item that weighs nothing. However, I am a big fan of closure, plus I want to be able to do Hermaeus Mora's quest. More on that soon enough. Technically, if you want to get your artifacts found stat to eventually show 15 items, then you'll need to return it for the Masque. However, despite not contributing to this stat in your menu, the sword is pretty sweet. And I should say, getting either of them will let you do Mora's quest. Just don't run off with the quest unfinished. With maxed skills and attributes, it does 4 more damage than a Daedric longsword, and has 125 uses of its Soul Trap enchantment, which lasts for 2 minutes. It's great to use in combination with Azura's Star to keep all your gear charged. Alternatively, turning over the sword gets you the Masque of Clavicus Vial, which grants you plus 20 personality, and has the same armor rating as a Daedric helmet. I'm so glad they kept the Oblivion look of it in the remaster. Do let me know if you like it more than Skyrim's one. Boethia's Oblivion quest requires you to be level 20, have a Daedra heart to offer, and to be ready for an absolute beast of a gauntlet. I love how hard it was for me to find this shrine back in 2006, up in the mountains, southeast of Cheydinhal and east of Arkved's Tower. Horses aren't as good at helping you climb mountains in the remaster, so you may have to take things slow and steady regardless of which path you take up there. Daedra hearts can be found on dead Dramoras or Zivali, but you can also buy one from my favorite place, the main ingredient, or you can actually go to the Anvil Fighters Guild and go all the way up into the top floor where there's one within a locked display case. Offering Boethia the heart has the Daedric Prince of Cruelty and Torture send you to compete in the Tournament of 10 Bloods, held within Oblivion. Traveling through the portal, you'll want to head to the right and through the gate to the first opponent. While there's 10 combatants, and one of every race, you're counted as part of that 10, and will replace the fighter of whatever your race is. Each champion gets their own introduction by Boethia, which I really like, as well as a send-off after you best them.
The price of failure, a final fanfare for the High Elf. Farewell.
Each opponent you face will be found behind a new gate, giving you time to wait a full hour to replenish your stats if desired. These opponents are all heavily armed with powerful weapons and armor, which makes the quest perfect for looting, especially now that being over-encumbered makes you walk slowly instead of being completely stuck like it used to in the original. Your opponents may heal themselves, they often have ranged and melee capabilities, both of which are powerful. They also carry a silly amount of potions, which you'll probably want to sell for a significant amount of gold. Seriously, I just kept running out of space for the potions alone, though I'm also carting around all these artifacts. There's plenty of enchanted arrows to be found too, and I should warn you as well that some of the combatants can paralyze you, so be careful and bring some potions to help out. I'd even recommend bringing a fair amount of repair hammers to fix up your gear between battles. After defeating all the enemies, a portal back to the shrine will open. If you have heaps of loot, you can still activate the portal while over-encumbered, then drop some gear on the floor at the shrine, and come back after you've sold what's on you to get the rest of the items for selling. But we have a victory to celebrate. Boethia will reward you with the Golden Blade, Goldbrand, telling you to sheath it in your enemies. It is 1 point of damage stronger than a Daedric longsword. However, it has 22 fire damage on top, with over 70 uses before it needs to be recharged, making it even stronger than Umbra. Just remember with all these weapons that Oblivion uses blade and blunt as skills, instead of one-handed and two-handed. Finally, we come to the Daedric Prince of Forbidden Knowledge, Hermaeus Mora. His shrine is found super far west of Cloud Ruler Temple, all the way over here. Get onto the path that leads there, going past Applewatch, and then once you've gone past the path that would lead up to Echo Cave, it's the next path on your right. The winding road with wooden bridges and various creatures wanting to kill you is super memorable to climb, though the scenic views end, or continue depending on your tastes, when you finally reach the grotesque amalgamation of claws, tentacles, and eyes that is Hermaeus Mora's shrine. I hope you're ready for what's to come. And I just mean that literally. The quest itself isn't too hard, but you're just not able to begin it unless you're deemed worthy. If you haven't met the requirements, you'll be told that you have not yet followed the path required. You don't get any clues about what that path is either. So let me tell you, to start this quest you'll need to have completed all the previous 14 Daedric Prince quests we've discussed, and gotten up to the Blood of the Daedra quest in the main storyline. You can complete that quest, but you only need to have started it. By level 20, which you'll also need to have reached to do this quest, you probably have gotten that far in the main story, unless you've purposefully avoided it for role-playing reasons, or maybe just to collect every flower or every Daedric Artifact in Cyrodiil. If you've already met the requirements, you'll be able to begin the quest, but if not, the Hermaeus Mora worshipper Caster Flavus will appear to you after you sleep if you've become ready since. Mora's guttural voice is especially eerie, and he will request your help in collecting one soul from each of the sentient races.
My followers seek to perform a divination. For this, they need souls.
So he gives you a unique soul trap spell and soul gem and sends you on your way. I suppose you could say the quest doesn't have too much of a plot, though getting there was pretty cool. My favorite thing is the view from the shrine, and of course, the reward. How you acquire your souls will depend on your role-playing approach. If you don't mind murdering indiscriminately, which you probably don't if you've helped all these Daedric princes, then a good strategy is actually visiting the shrines of the previous princes you've helped and just slaughtering their worshippers. Just the ones that you need. Often they like you so much that you can just yield to the others after killing for the specific soul you wanted, and they'll actually stop combat. You should be able to get all the souls this way, otherwise you'll just have to kill bandits, marauders, necromancers, and so on. You can just dive into an Ayleid ruin and get a bunch of them, but probably not all. Maybe you want to run through the arena faction to acquire such souls. Returning with the souls, Hermaeus Mora will gift you the Oghma Infinium, a special tome containing knowledge given by Mora to Xerxes. This special book offers 3 paths to choose from: Spirit, Shadow, and Steel. You get to pick one of them, and then the book disappears. They'll each give you a plus 10 boost to 2 attributes and 3 skills, and I'd say you should probably expect a level up from this. The Path of Steel raises the speed and strength attributes and the blade blunt and heavy armor skills. The Path of Shadow raises the agility and speed attributes and the sneak security and light armor skills. The Path of Spirit raises the willpower and intelligence attributes and the destruction, restoration, and conjuration skills. Also, while taking skills above 100 doesn't really help, exceptions being athletics, acrobatics, and speechcraft, you will be able to gain benefits by taking your attributes past 100, though not the extra melee weapons damage from strength, nor the bow, dagger, or short sword damage from agility. Perhaps you'll plan to keep some skills at 90, knowing this tome will take them to 100 for you. Enjoy this massive boost, and get ready to embark upon a Mehrunes Dagon related quest. And I'm not talking about Oblivion's main story. Keep in mind that this isn't one of the main Daedric Shrine quests, and won't count towards the Daedric Prince quests required to be completed to do Mora's quest. This one takes you to a sizable location, so I'm going to give you some more extensive directions as we dive through a maze of different zones and many foes. Come prepared for this one. You can do this at lower levels, but if you want the best gear and best loot, you'll want to be level 20 or above. If you explore everything, the loot includes things like a full set of enchanted Moragtong armor, the Forgemaster's amulet and smock, the spell turn cloak and blade turn hood, and if you're a high level, plenty of expensive generic armor pieces, poisons, potions, and enchanted arrows. The main attraction is of course the Daedric Artifact, Mehrunes Razor. So how do you get that? Well, to begin the quest, you'll want to head far to the east of the map, even further east than Peryite's Shrine, to Sundercliff Watch. Heading inside, a message on screen will tell you that the place has folklore linking it to Mehrunes Dagon, and that you should explore the area. Heading down this tunnel will have you battle against the first of many Drothmeri enemies. The old wooden door ahead of you can't be opened without a password answer to the question, who gathers storm clouds over Nirn? You can find the answer within the pages of the small diary hidden in the abandoned knapsack sitting on the stool next to the door. Picking up the diary has you learn that some kind of army is amassing here, led by somebody named Drathan. You'll need to find the journal in his cabin. After answering the password with Kaima, you head on through to fight many Drothmeri, head down the stairs looting all you can, and then follow the map marker to Sundercliff Village. Fighting some enemies here, you'll take a short trip over to the next door and into Sundercliff Commune. You can take your time to loot and explore during this quest, but if you're just interested in getting straight to the Razor, the newly added Clairvoyance spell in the remaster is actually pretty useful here. Dispatch more enemies and go across the bridge to Frathendrathan's quarters. On the table inside, you'll find his journal, which tells you that he has gone into a place called Vaermina Balim in search of something called the Nefari Vigum, which he believes protects Mehrunes' Razor. Enchanted Bezoars left in the care of his commander and Forgemaster can be used to dispel his enchantment blocking you from following him into Vaermina Balim. Exit and head over to the commander's quarters next door. Here you'll battle the commander himself. You'll find the first Bezoar you need upstairs on a low table in his room. Go down the wood ramps outside and into the village area, head through and past the tent and up the stairs, killing everyone who tries to stop you before going into the forge. A perfect time to use clairvoyance as you travel through the narrow paths and into the mines. Instead of only Dark Elves, you'll fight against Khajiiti and Argonian laborers, and navigate more narrow paths until you find another door back into the forge. Fight your way through to the Forgemaster, defeat him, loot his gear, at least to sell, and head into his tent to get the second enchanted Bezoar. Head up the path not far from the tent and pull the rope to move the stone blocking your way. Go back into the village zone and down the stairs to the lower area, taking the path through here and back into the commune. Head straight and things start to look very Ayleid. Kill the enemies at the blocked entrance and put the Bezoars onto their pedestals. With the barrier removed, you'll head into the excavated ruin and down the many stairs to ultimately make your way into the lost Ayleid city of Vaermina Balim. Here you will discover Drothmeri fighting it out against vampires. Clairvoyance can't help you now. Head straight through the center and down this path and into Carvar Beldameld. Heading up through the next door, you'll emerge outside again into another battle. The path you need to follow is actually back behind where you recently came out of. Head around the rocky area, down through this path, and into Carvar Marspanger. Fight your way up to the next door and head out and up the dilapidated pathway, killing vampires, and then head down the spiral stairs into the Nefari Vigum. Heading down past the dead bodies will have you reach Frathendrathan. You may wish to save your game before he sees you. If you were to read his field journal nearby, you'd know that the stone-like entombed figure he's standing in front of seems to be a prior champion of Dagon's who's failed in some great task. His chest was carved open with the razor itself, and he is made to stand guard as a test for those worthy to claim the weapon. The journal says that he who travels here draws the heart from the chest of the champion and devours it, must be worthy to wield the razor. Time to battle against Drathan and the Reflect Damage, Reflect Spell, Absorb Spell, and other resistances granted by his attire. But what next? Well, if your strength is greater than 90, so that's 91 minimum, you can use your terrible strength, as it's called, to force the gate open and get the razor sealed behind it. The champion will then battle you. If you don't have the strength, you can take the beating heart from his chest and eat it, which will wake him up, and he'll then constantly lose health in the battle against you, which he doesn't if you didn't take the heart because you were so strong. The health loss is quite quick actually. However, you'll contract porphyric hemophilia and cannibal's prion, diseases you'll want to remove ASAP after this quest, unless you want to be a vampire. Keep in mind that eating the heart increases your infamy by 4 points as well. But look, those seeking Daedric artifacts are hardly paragons of virtue. Taking the razor will drop down a wall, allowing you to take an exit through some tunnels and out of a submerged door into the lake nearby Sundercliff Watch. Enjoy wielding Mehrunes' razor. At level 20, it'll have the same base damage as a Daedric dagger, and its leveled enchantments provide the disintegrate armor effect, 15 points for 7 seconds, and of course it always comes with Daedric banishing on strike. This provides a chance, based on your luck attribute, to instantly kill your target. However, the chance is small, a 2% chance if your luck is 20, and 6% if your luck is 100. Luck can technically be boosted even higher than 100 and improve the chance much further, but it's far from a frequent occurrence, and I think best for a very niche build. Still, it looks awesome, it unleashes plenty of damage, and being a dagger, it's got some serious speed on it. Thank you so much for collecting all these Daedric artifacts with me. Of course, these are just from quests in Cyrodiil. Technically, there are other artifacts to find in the Shivering Isles, but we can all indulge in some madness in another video. Subscribe and hit like if you enjoyed the video, and love the remaster as much as I do. My name's Michael, and I look forward to nerding out with you again very soon.